Ian, is this you?
So do you think, Ian, you would have pursued YouTube if it wasn't for Matt?
So, no. I don't think I would have bit the bullet and went and done it. I would have wanted to do it.
Welcome back to Par for the Course. We're here today to discuss the merger between TXG and Club Champion, as well as the split of Matt Blois from TXG and the YouTube channel, and some of the things that came with the messaging that they put out, the scramble it seemed like to clean up the mess that was caused from all of this, and just really to discuss the business aspects of it. I do want to start off by saying kudos to Ian for being able to capitalize off something that he built. We'd all love to build a brand, sell it off, and be financially independent, and continue to grow our dreams. But there are some sacrifices that are going to come with this change, as well as some things that may not work out in the long term. So interesting to explore all of these different avenues that we're going to go down. I'm going to play some clips from back in the day, as well as some footage from their Q&A that was posted the day after this was all announced. So stick with me. We'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Are you joint owners of the YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But then you, Ian, own TXG, the store,
TXG's
the
Ian's,
brand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I get you.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing, Matt is his own business owner. I think that's a big part of the, maybe the miscommunication over time. We tried to get across, but obviously Matt owns his own business. He has his own company. We are not his only client.
I think it was very apparent that TXG was in scramble mode after the news started leaking out. They posted a post onto their Instagram page, and the comment section was pretty wild in terms of people that had had a negative experience with Club Champion and really down on this move. As you can just see as we scroll through here, the different perspectives, and largely it centers around customer service or a lack thereof. So it's very interesting in terms of how TXG seems to handle customers during fittings. There's very little criticism from a Club Champion standpoint on the quality of the fittings, but it comes down to customer service, communicating around the fees, upcharges, and just different negative aspects of the customer service experience. So it'll be very interesting how they handle that going forward. But again, it just goes down to the messaging part of it. When Matt went, out with his post as well, somewhat disputing some of the, the story that had come out at this point regarding how this move all happened and how we got to this point. With TXG on the other side scrambling to get a live Q&A together with Ian to kind of just explain the move. And it was very ham-handed, and the responses honestly were pretty unconvincing, especially given my background in business and working with mergers and buyouts like this, that the way that it was handled, it was very rough, rushed, and honestly, they lost sight of the long game. And in terms of controlling the message, everything they were doing was working backwards. So
of all the club fitting companies that are out there, none of them have really dipped their toe in the water when it came to the content space.
No, true.
Cool Clubs haven't. True Spec haven't really, although they have obviously golf.com.
I think they do it in the more traditional media sense.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are on, I know none of them are really on YouTube on a regular basis.
I mean, Club Champion kind of are now.
A little bit.
They try, yeah.
But I mean, I think at this level where, like Rick, for example, posting a very regularly established channel, I think they're maybe still in the very infant stage.
From a Club Champion perspective, this move makes complete sense. It gives the company an opportunity to clean up some of that customer service stain that they have. They currently have 90 locations here in the U.S. This gives them the opportunity to expand up in Canada, as well as partner up with a brand that is very customer service oriented, and has dazzling reviews on the other end of things. So we will see how this bears out over time, and whether TXG comes towards the club champion side, or whether the club champion side moves closer to what TXG is with their leadership. This blending of cultures is very interesting going forward. There's also mention of their use of GC Quad versus club champion using TrackMan. So that'll be interesting as well. I mean, those are big investments, especially if, again, club champions bringing the capital to the table. So with their 90 locations, it seems a little, it would be an oversight to go and purchase that many GC quads. So just all these little intricacies that go with this deal will be very interesting to watch over the coming years as things evolve. If you've enjoyed the content so far, do me a favor, go ahead and like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and get down in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this move and how it's going to affect either TXG and Club Champion. I'm very curious on how you view this. Let me know if you're in the US and Canada or elsewhere. I would really love to hear you guys' perspectives.
In about a few minutes, sort of my really good friend and a long-time good friend and the chairman over at Club Champion, Joe Lee, is going to join us, chat about it from their perspective. I think Joe is someone that people don't really see much of on the Club Champion sort of customer facing side of things. Nick Sherborne's CEO or not CEO, he's the founder and sort of head of the fitting team and over there. Nick is the one that people I think are most familiar with, but Joe is kind of been my sort of closest sort of ally over there, and the guy that I've got a long kind of history and friendship with, and just an all round great guy. So I'm excited to kind of get Joe on.
I've already alluded to some of the messaging that came out of this. This particular video looked like a hostage video where they were forced into it to scramble. They're not in their usual setup. And then the selling of Joe on the Club Champion side of things, personally versus, professionally, or it just seemed really forced. And in terms of the scramble to clean up what people were saying in comment sections, even leading up to this video, as they were supposed to start at a certain time. And I think they ended up coming on probably like 15-20 minutes late. I was trying to catch it live, and they were just late coming on. So again, this looked like a scramble drill to try to clean it up and make it look pretty. I think Matt Blois's Instagram post caught them off guard in terms of the different sentiment that was coming from the public that had watched TXG develop over the years into what it was. There's some really clear video out there just stating how much the YouTube channel impacted the growth of TXG as a whole. So it's very interesting that we end up in this spot where the main driving force behind the success as of late is going to change.
Of all the club fitting companies that are out there, none of them have really dipped their toe in the water when it came to the content space.
No, true enough.
Cool Clubs haven't. True Spec haven't really, although they have obviously golf.com.
I think they do it in the more traditional media sense.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are on. I know none of them are really on YouTube on a regular basis.
I mean,
A
Club
little bit.
Champion kind of are now.
Sure, a little bit.
They try, yeah.
But I mean, I think at this level where, like Rick, for example, posting very regularly established channel.
If I was on the PR side of this, I would have worked out something with Matt where he stayed on for a month, for 3 months, 6 months to transition this. Even if we knew changes were going to happen long term and there were things that were non-negotiables for him, I really think that they should have tried to plan around that. But I think when you're looking at the big picture as a business owner, you may lose sight of some of those details, and you just have to scramble at the end of it. I am aware that Matt struggles with some mental health things, and I know he's taking a break during the pandemic at some point and stepped away from the TXG channel. And I respect that, and I fully embrace him trying to maintain his mental health and take care of himself. But clearly, there were some things in this deal that seemed like they were going to push him to a point where he was uncomfortable, particularly as a digital, marketing artist and just creative. You can tell that he's very passionate around the product that he puts out and the integrity behind that. So I'm very curious what Club Champion is planning for the channel going forward. There's some spots where they've mentioned that Club Champion really doesn't have a presence in this YouTube game, and so TXG is like that perfect opportunity to capitalize on the audience that they've already built up over this time, and attempting to bring those things together.
We can now bring TXG to new markets. It'll be the TXG that you guys have always asked us to branch out and bring to new markets. I think that's important to say. It's what you guys have been asking for. I mean, all the requests that I wish you guys were in Ontario, wish you were in BC, wish you were in Alberta, all that sort of stuff. That's what's coming, in a fashion that we probably wouldn't have been able to do it in the past. Certainly not in that same timeline with all the challenges, in the world right now.
Definitely.
Okay.
In review, this is a subject that, intercedes with two things that I love a lot: golf and business. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall during the negotiations as they plodded along. Would love to see the contracts and how they're written up and some of the things that were non-negotiable on the Club Champion side that TXG is going to end up changing in the long run. I would love to see what Club Champion put down or conceded on. There's just so many things that can come with a deal like this in terms of how that's going to look going forward. In my business life, I do, again, the same thing. So hearing the whole thing about nothing's going to change and it's just business as usual, yeah, that's a bunch of BS. At the end of the day, some things are going to change. And so giving it the good old whitewash and saying, oh, nothing's, it's going to look the same. The simple fact that the YouTube channel that built up what TXG is now is no longer going to exist in the same way. And I know they're going to, again, press forward and try to put out a ton of good content. You can already tell they've laid out some, they have a content strategy going forward, and they're going to post pretty frequently coming out of this. But at the end of the day, there's just really no replacing somebody that made up half of the setup that made this channel so desirable, and what was able, what they were able to pull off during the pandemic in terms of growing the channel to a followership of like 179,000 on the day that I filmed this video. When I was looking at videos and when I kind of picked up on the channel, the subscribers were around 70K. So they've had massive growth as it relates to a YouTube channel over this last year in particular. And then, again, this huge deal for Ian, the owner of TXG. Again, I'm happy for the man, but the truth is, as a fan of the channel, it's just not really going to be the same for me. So, I applaud it, and I really do hope that they're able to maintain that. I don't think Mike's going to be able to step in and provide the same level, but nothing's forever. Change is the only constant, so we just roll with the punches. Again, thank you for joining the video. Appreciate every eye that watched all the way to this point. I have a couple of other videos on, I have a video on TXG that's doing really well, talking about free versus paid fitting. Go check that one out. I'm running a subscriber contest for, the first 1,000 followers to the channel. So go find that video here as well. Like, subscribe, and get in the comments section and keep watching the content. We'll see you on the next one. Talk to you later.